think this thing's working. Says it's working. Looks like I got one person on here. I'm trying to get my TV to so I can see the comments, maybe, if this is going to work. Alright, looks like I've got my channel on the TV now with the volume down. So hopefully the comments will come through, maybe. I don't know. I don't know how to get my comments to... No comments are coming across my screen. I have not a clue how to get that to work. I am not tech savvy, guys. Hello, everyone. I guess I'll just shut my TV off because I can't get the comments to come up on there. But I had a pretty good day today. I took a trip out to Dyno Joe's and had some saws pulled and stuff there, and thought you guys might want to see the results. I pulled, or had Joe pull 6 saws. We did the 543 XP, the 346 XP, the 359, the 562. We did the 365, and we did that blue 660 that I built for Smitty, and I think there's another one I did. Trying to think. I don't know. I had 6 of them pulled anyway. Is there any particular saws you guys want to hear the results on first? I'll let you guys choose in the comments here while I'm by the phone. Got 9 people watching. Any particular saws you guys, or you just want me to start with the 346? It didn't do what I wanted it to do, but take in mind that it needs this ring that Dub sent us put in it, because this saw has like it's over 60 thousandths ring gap, and the edges of the ring, like when you grab a ring, the edges are like a razor on it, so the ring is whooped. But she did 5.45 is almost 5.5 horse. I will be going back into it, putting a ring in it. I'm going to be going more muffler mod on it, and I'm going to see if I can hunt down a 357 carburetor and the elbow and the air filter setup, because that's not been done to it. But we will be going back in there and trying to get the compression up to where I think it needs to be. I think there's 6 horse in one of these. I just got to figure out how to get it. And if I can't achieve it with the port work that I've done on it, I will buy another cylinder, and we will go back into it and try a different approach. But I don't know, for a first attempt with a shot ring and stock components and a very mild muffler mod, 5.5 horse isn't horrible. So I think for a first time attempt, it's not horrible, but it's not where I want it to be. The 5. Well, I'll let you guys. What's the next one that you want to hear about? Let me read the comments there and see what the next one you want to hear about. We're up to 19 people now. Holy smokes! The 359. Let me grab it. I'm pretty pleased with what the 359 put out. Its best pull was 6.3. It's very broad banded. This is an excellent work saw. My buddy Canton has already laid claims to this, so I'm going to be shipping this saw to him. you know, I've got it running pretty good. It did some good dyno pulls. It's very broad-banded. Pulls like a freight train. Very, very pleased with that. I think with the different cylinder and slightly different port work, I think there's more in one of these. But all in all, this is an excellent work saw. It's a little heavier than the 346, but I think it's lighter than a 620. So I don't know, and it's got the freight train pulling power of a mildly ported 620 right now. So I'm pretty pleased. I'm pretty pleased with that. I hope Tanton likes that. I'll be sending him with the stock muffler, and I picked up a backup cylinder for that as well. I'll send him just in case that cylinder ever has problems. All right, what's the next one that you guys want to know about? But the 543. All right, very happy with this. She put up 5 horsepower. Out of all the pulls it did, the average, they averaged them all together, or he averaged them all together, it was like 4.84. It's pretty much 5 horsepower. I can show you the dyno sheet on this too. I had him pull up one of my 4310 pulls as well to kind of give you guys a comparison. There's the vanilla blue. I didn't catch that. The no blue something. I don't know what you're talking about, buddy. I'm doing good to get the phone to go live for me. I'm amazing I don't screw that up. But it's right there. This pink one is the 4310. I got a slight bit. The 543, I stretched the RPM out just a little bit more. I did that on purpose. I suspect Indiana Doug's this needs a carburetor and a muffler rod. This is the same saw but in a clone. It's got the non-working carburetor back on it, and I didn't feel like doing another muffler mod, so I just traded them mufflers. But this is all ported up. The numbers that are on this one are slightly different than this one. I suspect this one would be probably have slightly more torque, and it will probably have more of the RPM band of the 4310. I really can't wait for Doug to get this back, and I guess he's got a carburetor on the way, and then he'll do his muffler mod. And I think he's going to enjoy that little saw. I used it as a test platform to see which way I wanted to go with this. This saw is a little scooter. She books through the wood. I love the thing. And I love my 4310 as well. But 5 horse out of 43 cc's, I'll take it. Let me know what you guys think of that. Wow, we're up to 23. It says 23 viewers, if that's what saw do you guys want to hear about next now? It was kind of cool getting to interact with you guys. The 346 was 5.5. I already talked about it earlier in the live, but it was about 5.5 horse. I'm going to be going back into it, put a ring in it, and get the compression up on it. I'm not no Mr. Popular or whatever. I didn't have Grant's 500 pulled, but I would suspect that's probably 9.5 horse. Probably. It might be a touch more. It pulls like a freight train. Somebody just sent me a text. My 7310s, I've had them dynoed before. They range anywhere between 8 to 9 horsepower. Depends on the two that I have left. One's 8.3 and the other one is 8.99. So those are the two that I have left. Hey, Indiana Doug. Man, I wish these comments would stay up where they just fade away before I can read them. I'm a very slow reader. I've ported a 5105 for my buddy Nate, and he loves it. They're right up there with some of my 4910s. So I can't remember. You'd have to go back through my videos, JK. I can't remember all what my numbers were on them right off the top of my head. Are any of you guys interested in knowing what Smitty's blue, I call it smugly, that ugly beat up blue 660? You guys want to know what Smitty's 660 put up? My 461s, I got one that's 8.7 and one that's 9.29. Smitty's 660 put up 9.5 horse. And that was, I've never even put it in wood or anything. That was from the bench test vid that you guys saw. It went from there. It was still bellowing out the assembly lube that I had in it when we were doing dyno pulls on it. But here's Smitty's dyno pull for that 660 that I pieced together for him to run there at Clone Wars at Sawfest. Should do pretty respectable. That's with no piston work either. That's just all machine work and porting right there in muffler mod. And that's with stock air filter stuff on it too. So he'll have to get it dialed in, get the chain where he wants it, and figure out what size rim he wants to run on it. But it should be a pretty stout saw. The torque on that, it's saying 6 foot-pounds. But yeah, it's looking like six foot-pounds on that. I'm not very good at reading the chart, but where it made the 9.52 horse, it was producing 6 foot-pounds of torque at that as well. It should be a good runner. That Neotech 365 that I fixed up and got running. Yep, I know that, JK. I wouldn't say it's a monster 660. It's a stout 660. Hey, there's Tanton. I just gave the results on your 359 Tanton just a little bit ago. But the 365 that I did put up 7.5. Where's the chart with that? I'm pretty bummed out with the 562 build. It is giving me all sorts of running issues. I don't know if that carburetor's not happy. Mtronic stuff might be not happy with my port work or what, but I'm gonna get it over to my buddy's house. He's got all the computer stuff there where we're gonna do a hard reset, plug it into the computer and do a hard reset and see if that makes it any better. I just got to get over. He's a couple hour drive away. But the 562, there's the 365, 7.45. That's close, 7.5 horse. I did see 7. I think the best pull it did was 7.5, but he does a bunch of pulls and then averages them. The 562 put up 6.58. I'm not done with that 562. If I can't get the bugs worked out of it, I will buy another cylinder and I will attack that saw a different way and see what happens. I'm persistent, if anything. So, I've never done a 288, so I have no idea. I don't have any. My best pull on a 372 has been 8.7. And that was on a 50 millimeter bore. I think that the big bore that Chad Jackson, I sent to Chad Jackson, I think that big bore, the one that Bodie did a video on, I think that one's right around 7.5 horse. I didn't go nothing crazy. It's just a mild work saw build. So it's probably pretty close to that 365 that I just built. But my stoutest 372 is that white one, and then I haven't had the orange one back on the dyno since I've revisited it, but when I did timed cuts, they were the same timed cuts as my white one. Any other saws that you guys are curious about what they've put up for power? Yeah, I had a snack. I ate a honey bun. That was my. We're up to 24 people watching. 13. My best 4910. It's hit or miss on that. What do you consider best? I mean, highest horsepower numbers 7.4. Favorite to cut and use as a daily wood cutter. One of my favorite ones, I sold it. I wished I wouldn't have. One of my favorite ones only put up 5.23 horse, and I just absolutely loved using that one as a daily, fully functional hardcore work saw. But my 4910s vary from, my real mild builds are like 5 horse. And the craziest one I've ever done for power wise was 7.4. My 6.1 ram and jams pretty good. I got one that's 5.8 that rams and jams pretty good. Just depends on what one I'm dabbling with. I try so many different builds. I guess you guys are having a conversation that I'm lost in. I buy stuff off eBay. I don't. What is coming up next on the Brisco bench? That would probably be my buddy John's 385. I should have probably been working on it tonight, but I want to get a good full night's rest before starting on that. On any saw I build, I put my heart and soul in it, so they're probably all the best. Hey, Chippy. Well, it looks like I come. No, I haven't. I'm really pleased with how my 7310s run with their Echo cylinder. I don't have a 390, so I don't have no way of doing that one. The 390 I did pick up, I ended up trading it off. It needed a lot of work. Yeah, I did the 543. Yeah, she's 5 horse. You're probably jonesing pretty hard to get your little Neotech back, aren't you, Doug? They're a very good solid saw with some. If you look at some of my videos I put out there, they'll make 8 horse really easy, and they're a ramming jamming saw. I mean, they will knock the snot piss out of a stock 500i with just some mellow port work to them 7310s. Yeah, maybe we can do that sometime in the future. I plan on getting a 390 someday. I just don't know when. With me taking care of Dad and not working much, money's kind of tight. So, I sold a few of my toys, and do you guys want to see the new toy that I bought today, or? I'm pretty geeked about this, guys. I picked it up off from Joe. Let me move some of these saws out of the way here. I picked it up off from Joe. I've worked at them probably a year, I bet, to get them to come off from it, and I'm glad I took some of my saw money over there with me. But I picked his stock 4310 up off him, so I've got me another 4310. Super geeked about that. I know I'm kind of weird because I crave these little saws, but I don't know, I have more fun slaying wood with a little tiny saw that runs like a big saw than I do playing with a hot rodded big saw. It doesn't make much sense, but that's just me. So I don't know how many. I still have my other 310 right here that's 5 horsepower. So my plan with the new one that I just got today is I'm going to get some befores and after footage, and I'll probably compare that stock one to mine and that stock one to the 543. I'll get you guys, I'll do some sort of test comparison video, and then when I go to build this one, because this is a taper top build, I want to do a flat top, flat chamber build, and I want to swing the other way on this one and see if I can turn this one into an absolute torque monster, because this one's an RPM monster. I want to turn this one into a long bar nasty puller and see what happens. It's might smoke the cylinder or whatever, but if I do, I do. I'll have to wait for these comments to pop back up, but I'm super tickled. I love that one that Dan sent to me. I absolutely love it. I think I'm 4 or 5, maybe 6 tanks through that thing now. Then you guys can say what you want, but that ported 4310 right there, it's really close to a muffler modded 550. Dan is awesome. That dude can build a mean ass saw too. Feels kind of weird having... I only know of 3 of these in the States, and I'm looking at 2 of them. Well, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I might build this other one up, and she might just rest with a 24 or 32 inch bar on it. If I might have to make a lightweight one or something fit. Build me a long bar puller, little 43cc monster. A lot of guys are confusing them 4310s with the 4510. Totally different saw. They are kind of like a mini 7310, but they're stratified. And I used to be pretty scared of the stratified saws, but they're really starting to grow on me. You just got to tweak how you build them a little different, and they seem to be some of my hardest, knottiest running saws out there are stratified now. Is there any other saws that you guys are curious about Dyno pulls on? I've had Joe pull a lot of them. I don't know where my paperwork is on all of them, but I got a lot of the pulls memorized. MS660, I've only pulled clones. My best pull was like 10 horse on one. That was a Neotech one. And I've had them, when I was trying different stuff, they ranged from 8 horse all the way to 10 horse. And that last one I did was 9.5 horse. The 620s fluctuate from 6 all the way to 7.3. Just I will be going back into the 362. A buddy of mine gave me a stock cylinder here. It's got a little bit of scuffing in it and stuff. I think I can salvage it, and then I can put some numbers in this, and I'm going to flip and flop things around on a 362 and see if I can get a little bit more torque out of it. Them 400s are animals. I don't know if you guys, that 400 put up like 8.8 horse. My white 372 clone, that was 8.7. I've looked at a 4920, but I've never had one torn apart. I know they're a clamshell. Kind of bummed about that. Well, thanks for watching all my videos. 4920 or junk. I would probably agree with that. Echo had a good thing going. I preached the living snot piss out of them 4910s, and I couldn't tell you how many people I've turned on to buy one of them, and then they turn around and quit making them. My best 372 XP was 8.7. That was on a clone. I did a mild port job on a 576 XP once, but I sold it and it never got dynoed or nothing. I wasn't too overly thrilled with it. I bet it did, Tanton. Becco was stupid. That they took something that was pretty much a pro model saw at a homeowner's price, and them 40 for the price you couldn't beat them. They were amazing, and then they quit doing it. 392 XP. Never even had one in my hands. You guys are probably looking forward to the grudge match of that 4310 and 543 coming up pretty soon, aren't you? Doug, you and them dang wild things. I'm so irritated with them things, I don't care if I don't ever see another one again. What'd you guys think of that little 170 that I did up for John to compete with that Sawfest? I'm in Michigan. I do port work sometimes, but I'm currently not taking on anything. I have my hands full with dealing with my dad. He's sleeping right now. That's why I'm able to come out here and do this live right now. You looked good. You talking about the little 170? I couldn't tell you guys what the numbers are or any. Yes, 500s are beast ported. Stock, they're a little lazy. Well, if you ran a ported one, JK, you'd probably think differently. Stock, I think they're 6.7 horse, and they'll make 9 horse pretty easy. They were good saws. Do I want a 288? I don't know. What are you trying to get out of it? I've done that clone 872i Neotech. I've actually done three of them 872s, and they're like an 038. The one I had dynoed made like 7.5 horse. That MS170 has one of them $8 fully adjustable 025 carbs on it from I caught something. You said you'd donate one, Tant. If you want to do that, buddy, that's cool. But you've done so much for the channel already. I feel bad. I don't want you thinking I'm taking advantage of you or anything. I'm not a fan of the Husky 440 either. I love the 440 steel though and the 044s. Those are excellent saws. All right, Tant. We'll work something out. Do you have an email or contact number you feel okay giving out? It's chbrisco@gmail.com. And Indiana Doug helped me out. And if you look on the main thing to go to my page or whatever, or YouTube, I think there's a link to it in there. Yeah, I would agree with you, Tanton. 440 Husqvarnas, I don't like them. What's Doug supposed to post, JK? How does a Dalmar 7900 compare to a 7310? Well, stock for stock, the 7900 will walk all over the 7310. Ported, depending on which way you ported it, if you did a ring zingy 7310 speed cuts, it would probably out speed cut it, but I still think the end of a ported 7900 would probably still walk the dog on a ported 7310. Well, I'll be experimenting with that because I bought me a 7900. She's sitting right down underneath there on the bench, and I will be porting that one. And when we go to do some grudge matches and stuff, we will not only get a dyno pull on that thing, we will get some grudge matches against my two 7310s that are sitting right here next to me. They're a solid saw. I don't like the fact what Makita did to that company. They were a great saw, and then now it's getting hard to get parts for them. I've had several 7900s and the 6400s. I bought a whole bunch off a logger once. I had like 12 of them at one time. He switched from, when parts started getting hard, he'd switch to that to, I think, like 661s or whatever, and he made me a package deal, and I bought a whole bunch of them things. And all I did was clean them up and sent them down the road. I had 3 I sold, or a 7910. I've never personally had a 7910. Yeah, I'll have to get with Doug sometime and do that. I think Doug's got a 7310 Dalmar as well. If you're still in here, Doug, you can answer that. I would agree with that, Tanton, only because you can still get parts for the Echo. That's probably what you didn't want to hear, was it, Doug? The 372 is an amazing platform to port. For my cutting style, though, and comfortability, to me, a 372 does not feel comfortable in the hands. I'm not saying they're a bad saw. That's just my personal preference. If in that class of saw, I would take a 7310 over any other saw. Well, that's a toss-up. The 462 is an amazing, comfortable saw for me to run, too. I heard them 550s got some funky stuff going on with them, JK. I've never personally been inside one. It depends. Is it vapor locking or is it heating up and just not running? I built, well, it's hanging back here on the wall. Can't remember this is a 7900 that belongs to my buddy, and this is a 6400 that I put it's a solo top end I grafted into it, and I can't remember the model. I think it's the 73cc solo 675 or something like that. I can't remember. It was a solo top end I grafted to it. It runs pretty good. There's a video of it if you look through the channel. That Reed 4910 was my second strongest. I built another one actually using a 7900 carburetor on it that was just piston ported that made 7.4. The Reed made 7.2. But the Reed one had far more torque. You could really hoss on the Reed one compared to that. That 7.4 one was really narrowed up and had a real narrow power band. I didn't like cutting with it. And I had to twist that to 17,000 RPM to get it to make 7.4. So that lets you guys know how tough them 4910 bottom ends are. I think everybody loves saws on, on the live right now. They're Canton. We're not weird. We're just different. Yep, why not? I'm supposed to be porting one of my buddy's pole saws. I don't know when, or I'm supposed to be porting his RC car too. That'll be interesting. I guess it's got a Zenoa 50cc engine on it or something. We're up to 27 people watching. That's amazing. Any other saws that you guys are curious about the dyno pulls on? Because that's what I started this live about. Get back on that topic. I guess I'll touch on that subject too. What did you guys think of that tips and trick video that I dropped? 362, that was like 6 horse. What's the smallest saw you had on a dyno? 2511. I think it was like a touch over 2 horse or something like that. But really broad range. I've dynoed 2 500s. They're like, I think one was like 8.7 and one was like 9. My 395 I did was tickling 10 horsepower. But I think there's more in a 395. I was, at that time when I built that 395, I was not cutting chambers, so I think if I had to do another 395, I think I could even get more out of it. You need to build a dyno and dyno MS250. I've built some pretty sporty MS250s. Dynos can be very humbling too. I've dynoed saws that I thought were amazing in the wood and then pull them on a dyno and like, what the heck, that's it. And then I've had it vice versa where they put up huge numbers on the dyno and then you go out and cut with them and they're not that impressive. So it's the dyno's just another way to gauge what your saw's doing when you do something to it. I still think the best outcome is what it's doing in the wood with, how hard how hard will it hold RPM in the wood and stuff. shooting for 10 horse. On a 395, that should be very easily doable. I've only done one 400. I've got another one coming I'm supposed to be doing for a buddy. My 400 put up 8.8. I didn't think to pull all them dyno sheets on stuff. I got a lot of my dyno pulls memorized. My 260, the only 261, I've built a couple 261s, but the only one I had on the dyno was the latest one, and that was like 6 horse. That tips and trick video that I dropped the other day, that video was probably an hour long, and the phone ran out of memory and shut down on me, and I sat there and talked to the phone not running for probably another half an hour after that, and then went to shut the video off and realized I'd ran out of memory. Normally when that happens, my phone dumps the whole video, but for whatever reason, it did save a half hour of it. So I decided to release that tips and trick vid of only half of it. Someday, when I'm feeling froggy, I'll make the other half of it where I'm talking about the chambers and stuff. Well, you have a good one there, Bigfoot and Banana Man. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it. I think I have 12 dead ones in my shed that I was planning on getting to someday, and I think there's a few carcasses floating around in here too. Leslie. Joe's and Leslie. It's about an hour and 10-minute drive from me. Well, hey Dubs, how's it going, buddy? I got that video you sent me of your saw. I'll have to look. You were saying you were having bit problems. I'll have to look and see see if I got the link saved to the bits that I use. I'll try to send you a link to them. But for my diamond bits, I just get them at Harbor Freight. No, just doing a live. That's what's happening. Trying to stay caught up on these comments. Very hard to do. Yeah, the diamond bits, I get like it's a whole, I forget how many's in there, 50 I think, and they're all different. You end up only using like 12 of all of them in there. But those ones seem pretty decent. I bought some off from Amazon that looked the same for much cheaper, but when I went to use them, the diamond stuff just flaked right off the daggum bit, like it wasn't adhered to it very well. So I think the Harbor Freight ones are probably a little better than them Amazon ones. I don't do many finger ports, Dubs, but when I do, I try to do it with a steady hand and good bits. Make the world of difference there. I still do. There's a few different ways of doing chambers. If it's not my saw, And I have the sleeves for it. I use Joe's cutter a lot because it's the safest. I still use my lathe quite a bit too. And then I have a few other ways of doing them too, but I don't show that on there because the risk is so high of damage in the cylinder. I just don't show that because I don't want somebody to try my method and then get all mad when they smoke their cylinder, because, you know, I've done lots of them, and every now and then I still smoke a cylinder. That is sometimes the risk that you take by doing machine work and stuff. But Joe's cutter works very well, especially for a beginner that's into just learning how to cut chambers. If you ever see me doing a video on the lathe cutting a chamber, you just see the quick part of doing the chamber cut. It's 45 minutes or longer for me to get one dialed in where I'm happy with it. And at some point, sometimes you just get mad and live with a couple thou run out, because it's like no matter what you do, it seems crooked. Especially if it's on a Chinese cylinder. I don't even think them things are round half the time. If you're in a rush, you could damage a cylinder, but as long as you either push it away from as long as you have the cylinder wall away from the cutter and going down, it's pretty easy to cut. The thing that sucks with Joe's is when they put that Nicosil all over the combustion chamber, and then it's a big pain in the butt. That Nicosil is really hard on that HHS tool steel bit. If it's a fully Nicosiled cylinder, I prefer cutting them on the lathe because I can use that tungsten carbide bit and just get through it most of the time, unless it's a white 372. Yep, I've done it that way too. A lot of times I'll do that right after, like when I use Joe's chamber cutter, I'll leave 5 thou extra, and then I'll just clean the 5 thou up with some sandpaper to make it look good. So if I want 50 out, I'll cut 45 out with Joe's and then sand the other 5,000s with sandpaper. And you'll hit it with 80, 180, and 220 and call it good. You taking off, Doug? Well, if you are, have a good night, buddy. Yeah, I share what I can. Some things I would say it's too dangerous. You know, I would feel bad if I shared something and somebody ruined their cylinder. So some things I do keep to myself. I would not recommend doing Joe's tool in a lathe like that unless you fix your chuck, and then where the chuck can't move, and then you can slide your cylinder on and maybe use your tailstock to put a steady pressure against it so it doesn't want to lift up. But I wouldn't have the tool turn, and that's asking for a catastrophe. I can't believe it's been 54 minutes already. I can't believe there's not more people wanting to know what some of the saws pulled. Of course, maybe you guys watch some of the other videos. Curious on the dyno pulls. .417 saw, you missed out. 661 with all the stock air filter stuff is like 10.5, but with no air filter in it, she pulled 11. So that's letting me know that saw is wanting a freer flowing filter. 550 XP with 6 horse. Which ones did you do today? I did the 543, the 346, the 359, the blue 660, and I did six of them today anyway. The 543, 346, 359, 365, the 660, and there's I pulled 6. What was the 6th one that I did? Oh, 562. Yeah, I'll have to do something with that 661's filter setup. I ain't sure. I thought about making a stack for it. I don't know. Honestly, it's pretty brutally strong the way it is. The 543 put up 5 horse, and so did that 4310. And I want to get 3 tanks run through the 543 because I want it to be broken close to what the 4310 is before I have my grudge match. And then these 3 saws will be going in a video. I'll do a comparison of the stock one. I don't have a stock one of these to do a comparison. But these 2 are going to get grudge matched for sure, for certain. Five horse, yeah, Dubs, I'm happy. Can't complain there. I was happy. 43 cc's, 5 horse. They're ring zingers, they pull chain like crazy, and they weigh nothing. They're like sub 10 pounds. This other 4310, I'm going to try and flip and flop and go a different direction on that build and try to get some serious pull out of that one. I run little saws more than I do big ones. Yes, it is. I love it. Well, so far I've had good results out of any straddle that I've done. $60 to $70 cc the best. Yeah, for big wood, I guess they're pretty good, but I don't know. I prefer my little saws. With these saws on the bench right here, well, the stock one I wouldn't, but them 2 on the back side there, I wouldn't be scared at all throwing 20-inch bars on them and taking down a 30-inch oak. Wouldn't sweat it one bit. I should do that someday. Get all my gear on and go out to the woods and make a video and slay a monster tree with a teeny weeny saw. Now we're down to 21 viewers. Your favorite saw to run is watching someone else run it. I don't know, I really enjoy running saws. They're just as fun to run as they are to port. One of the things I love the best is seeing someone's facial expressions when they try out a ported saw, especially if it's their first time. Can you just patch that hole with some JB Weld or something? If it's a hole in the magnesium, you should be able to get some AZ92A or whatever and TIG weld it up. I didn't catch all that comment there, Chippy. It disappeared before I could finish reading it. No, thanks, Dubs. I try, you know. I'm not the best at it, but I know I'm not the worst at it. I just do my thing with them. Yeah, my phone does weird things if I start touching the screen. I'm scared it's going to pounce right off the live stream there. Me and technology don't get along. I'm hoping I can make it to Sawfest, but it's not looking like it's going to happen this year. But there should be plenty of my saws down there. As much as I can get out of it, the downside with that build is he wants to compete with it at Sawfest, but after Sawfest, it's got to run reliable and do production firewood cutting for the guy. So I won't get too terribly crazy with it. I'll have to see what the stock numbers are, but I'm probably going to cut the chamber and cut the base and do like 100, probably 120 on the transfers and stick around 80 or 84 for the... I'm going to treat it like a 372 and see what happens. I didn't catch that, Dubs. It disappeared. Yeah, I just do me. I don't tell anybody that my way of porting's the right way. I just port how I want to port a saw, and I do things slightly different than what the commonality is, I guess, or the norm. I just do what works for me, and, you know, cut with a saw and find out how I like to cut with it. And my cutting style might be different than someone else's. It's just how it goes. I just tell people what I'm doing, and they can either try it. I personally recommend you guys try other people's builds. You know, especially if you're getting into porting saws, dabble and doodle, try other things, see how the saw reacts, because how I port and how my shapes are might be different than someone else's, and you can set the same set of numbers with different port shapes and textures and all that and get a different result. So it's ultimately... I don't think I'll ever be able to make it out that far, Chippy. That's why I donated that saw to him. That 872i, I think that put up like 7.5 horse. It's equivalent to an 038 Mag 2. I sent that out to Tasman so he can play around with it, and that way there's a saw out there that hopefully gets passed around, and you guys can play with a mild ported saw out there that I did. Old Bellhopper builds a good saw. Someday I'll have one of his saws in my collection. Yep, you need to run them as soon as you get a chance. It's always fun. Yeah, run it, pass that thing around. let everybody play with it. Hopefully everybody likes it. Well, thanks, Justin. I try. I mean, at the end of the day, it still comes down. It's just a chainsaw. I try to do a blend of a build. It's like what I consider a firewood saw / mix get together saw. Some people like to focus on total work saw. Some people like low compression. Some people like high compression. Some people like a low roof. Some people like a high roof. Some people like a low intake. Some people like a long intake. But that's what I love about those get-togethers. You get to get out there and you get to put your hands. Like if I am ever have a get-together or whatever, and my stuff there, especially if we're done competing or whatever, you guys see my stuff. Feel free to test it out, because that's. Yeah, I like that 270-210. Yeah, I like a good balance of torque versus chain speed, and then versus startability and reliability. A lot of things go into when I'm, But that's what I love. I love putting other people's, at a get-together, I love trying out other people's saws. Another thing I love, too, is watching people start out at one point at building a saw, and then you give them some pointers and steer them in the right direction, and all of a sudden, shabam, they're starting to pump out some strong saws. I really like that. Like I've said before, the only person I'm trying to beat is the manufacturer. I don't have it out for any other porter or anything. I just Well, Tanton, your 365 clone would probably mop the floor with mine. I'm not that totally. 7.5 ain't bad, but I'm not totally happy with it. I really don't like the layout. That Neotech feels pretty clunky and chintzy in the hands. No, horsepower is not everything, Tant. I've had some saws that make 5 horsepower that beat 7 horsepower saws in timed cuts. Okay, Chippy. I'll have to check it out whenever I get done with the live. You can message me. What is your favorite off-brand to build? You mean as in like a clone? I don't know. The Neotech 660 I built was pretty high quality, I thought. That Neotech little 43cc clone, that thing was actually pretty amazing for fitment and quality compared to the 365 that I tore down. I probably don't really have a favorite. I tend to favor little saws more than I do big saws. I don't know. There's just something about it, having a little 40cc saw, that when you get to like get-togethers and goof-offs and playing around, or even if you're just out on a job site goofing off, I love the looks when one of my little 40-something or 50-something cc saws just cleans the clock on a 70cc saw. I get a big charge out of that. And then them guys get stuck lugging. I still, to this day, I don't understand why people would want to lug You know, especially if you're knocking limbs and stuff off and the tree's already on the ground. I don't see why somebody would want to lug that big of a saw around when you can fling a little surgical knife around that weighs less than 10 pounds and cuts just as fast as that big saw. Older I get, the more I really cherish a super strong small saw that don't weigh nothing. Are big saws fun? Yeah, sure, but I don't hardly... Honestly, the only... When you guys see videos of them and stuff, it's just I'm putting them out there for videos for you guys to see them. I don't hardly ever, you know, when I used to do tree work and stuff, I don't hardly ever... Quite honestly, that 6-horse 4910 of mine, I've pulled a 32-inch bar with that thing. It'll you know, pull it no problem. I've cut down some monster trees with that thing. I love the fact when you're playing with a sub 10 pound saw and you get done butchering all your firewood, you still got enough energy left in you. You can load your wood. Yep, 501's amazing saw. I've got 3 of them. I think I got 3, maybe 4. I don't know. I got 3 or 4 of them. I'm itching pretty bad to dive into that Shindawa. That's like a red 4910. That's going to be a cool build. Now I got me some better upper transfer working tools. I might try some different stuff in the upper transfers on one of them, see what happens. Yeah, there's something about a red saw. They're just sweet looking. Well, hey guys, it's already been an hour and 13 minutes. I appreciate you guys stopping in. I'll have to do another one of these lives. I got to go in, check on Dad. I think I'm going to scrounge me up something to eat. I'm not familiar with the 446 Shindawa. I know mine's a 492, I think, is what mine is. Yes, I have a Lucky Dog 90, or not quite a 90, whatever it is. It's like the dental tool head one that snaps into my knockoff Fordham thing, and it's amazing. I love that thing. I plan on it because I'm hoping wife is going to watch my dad for a little bit tomorrow, and I got to go pull a fence. I got to pull a bunch of fence posts out for a fence row tomorrow, and then after that I got to get Dad to physical therapy, and then hopefully I can get out here later tomorrow night or something and start on that 385. But I think I'm going to call it quits here, guys. So thank you everyone that stopped by. Hopefully you enjoyed the live. I'll have to try to do more of these in the future if you guys like them. If you don't like them, I can just go back to the normal video. Alright, I'm going to hit this little X button and it should shut this thing off. So you guys have a good night.